welcome everyone. Thank you for attending the November meeting of the Town of Newbury Human Resources Board. It is 4:01. Let's call the meeting to order. Present are
Diane Doyle.
Mark Fleckman,
John Ferrara.
Anthony Antico.
Lynn Peabody.
Patty Fisher.
thank you all. Good to see everyone on Thanksgiving week. Happy holiday in advance.
You too.
You too.
Next order of business is to approve the minutes from the prior meeting. Diane, as always, thank you for providing those to us. This is the meeting of 10/28/25.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Assuming everyone's had an opportunity to read through them.
Yes, I have.
Seeing no discussion, let's vote on acceptance of the meetings. All those in favor of the minutes, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved unanimously, thank you. Employee issues, Diane, let me turn to you and Chief Fisher to see if there's anything we need to be addressing.
Nothing on my end.
Nothing to brought to my
Good.
attention.
Nice to blow right by that issue every Personnel actions and job vacancies. I know from just talking to Diane that we filled a couple of positions. Diane, would you like to give us an update?
Yep, we, last month I reported that we had the van driver position was open, and we have hired a new van driver. She will be starting on December 9th. We had a resignation of a DPW worker who is relocating back down to South Carolina, and we have since filled that position as well. So we have a new laborer starting on December 1st. And we have, since our last meeting, had our new full-time firefighter start in the position that was vacated by Curtis Walton. So he started on November 10th. And that's all I have.
I still have one open position, and my two newest hires are doing great, so.
Wow, all good news
Great.
in this tight labor market.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal.
Thank you, Diane. Next order of business, workplace issues, discrimination, ethics. I'm not aware of anything percolating. I hope that's still the case in Town Hall, PD, FD.
Everything.
All good, thank you. Safety issues, anything new to report?
We don't have anything new to report.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, nothing.
Okay, we're zooming along here.
Boy, we're cooking right along.
All right, other business, a couple of quick ones. Ongoing compensation reserve fund discussion. As a reminder, Tracy brought this to our attention in the October meeting. We had a robust conversation talking about the practicality of it, the need for it, the timeliness of it, and the result was that with a couple of abstentions from Diane and Patty for obvious reasons, the board has voted to recommend that we bring that to the select board, and depending on how it's structured, potentially to town meeting as well, and I'll talk about that for just a minute or so here. But before I get into that, any follow-up thoughts, questions, anything folks want to share before we get into it?
No, just fall on my sword. I forgot I was gonna send an email out to the Essex County Chiefs of Police Association to find out how the departments that were offering like signing bonuses,
Right.
how those were set up kind of on the administrative end
Okay.
of that, and I forgot to do that, so I just made myself a big
Okay,
fat note.
great, thank you.
Yep.
I met with the Manchester by the Sea past treasurer, just because we're close friends through association, and mentioned it with no specifics. Though the specifics sort of fell in my lap when I went to turn some paper chase into Gretchen. Did that happen?
I'm sorry, what?
Her assistant, is that who we were talking about in our meeting the other day to try and retain?
Yes, she had resigned and has left.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I don't think that was the only, I don't believe that was the only reason for this.
No.
I agree,
Yeah.
but it was part and parcel.
Right.
Yeah,
But I think
so
it was
did you
the-
get any
Well, the
data
answer-
points from
answer is that
Manchester?
He said there's no specific account, it comes under general revenue, in other words, their whole account, the general fund. He said they go to the finance committee and to the select board, and they ask for opportunity to spend it in a special mode.
Right.
I mean, if there's a manner of isolating it specifically, then the answer is no.
Yep, okay, thank you. Per our
Yeah.
discussion last
I
month,
don't- yeah, I'm questioning that because I don't think you can increase the budget amount once the budget's been set by
Yeah.
town meeting. So to go back to the general fund, if you will, to ask for more funds to be set aside for a fiscal expense that's already been a sort of set in stone, I don't know that you can do that.
Like Tracy said, it had to have been like an emergency, unforeseen, like there were 2 or 3 check boxes that she was
Yeah.
saying she was kind of concerned that it didn't meet the kind of urgency
right,
as she sees asking for that to happen.
yeah,
I think there's the opportunity to go in, if you have excess funds in one line item and you need to move them, she could go to the finance committee and request that they be, because the budget in itself wouldn't change, but I think the point in this was to set aside funds so that she didn't have to go back and you
correct.
can't ask for an increase in the budget,
Yeah.
Correct. I can
so.
offer a little bit more detail on that. I met with Tracy on this just to follow up to make sure I understood what her thoughts were on it. And also spoke to folks from a number of different towns, some of whom have items like this in their operating budget. And the result of that conversation was that Tracy was then going to follow up with town council to get their understanding of, how the town of Newbury might be able to navigate this. And so far, what we've determined is that there, at least potentially, there are 2 ways this could be done. The traditional way is to create a line item, as Diane was just talking about, in the operating budget, name to be determined. And that line item would be used for the purposes of, as you were saying, unanticipated circumstances that might pop up during the course of a year. It wouldn't necessarily be union stuff, it might be,
Just human resources.
yeah, human resource issues, a key employee who the town might be, might be saying goodbye to for whatever reason, a valued employee who we would like to be able to maintain. If it was a question of dollars, then there would be this pool of money available on an as-needed basis. Some years it might not be used at all. In other years it might be used once or twice. But it would sit as a line item in the operating budget. As an example, I talked to the finance director, I think her title was, in Salisbury. And they have this in a line item under the category of, I think it's pensions and other liabilities, is sort of a catch-all to be used as needed. I think they funded it with $25,000. So that's one way to do it. What Tracy said to me a week or so ago was that her initial conversation with town council suggested that because of the way the town of Newbury creates its budgets, and Diane, I think you can help me with this, it's not necessarily it's by department or by category. There was some question from town council as to whether we would be able to create one fund to be used potentially in different areas, or if each category in the budget required its own special fund, and that of course would be challenging to be able to fund it. There are 3 of them, or there are 7 of them. That seemed like it could be a little cumbersome.
A governmental expense under the category of retention and recruitment under a human resources aspect. I mean, that would cover all the departments, and
Right.
a simple idea of
But again, because
attraction
of
and retention.
our bylaws, the way our budget is reviewed and sent to town meeting, there was some initial question from town council as to whether that would be the appropriate thing to do. So that's an ongoing conversation.
Okay.
The other option, which is I think is the one that Tracy and I were leaning towards as a more realistic possibility, would be to create a warrant article to be brought to town meeting for the purposes of establishing a special fund
Yes.
outside of the operating budget, if you will. transparent, everyone's aware of it, town meeting's aware of it, the citizens are aware of it, and it would be funded out of free cash, an amount to be determined based on how the select board wants to write the warrant, or the article in the warrant. For the sake of argument, it might be a $25,000 number, it could be a $50,000, could be a $15,000 number. Select board would determine, along with, town administrator, perhaps, FinCom, what's an appropriate amount. Put that on the warrant as an article, and if it passes town meeting, it becomes a fund that sits outside of the operating budget to be used on an as-needed basis.
Yeah, with defined
And
parameters.
if it's a $25,000 fund, and during the course of a year, 10,000 of it is used, then the following fiscal year, $15,000 again comes from free cash
To bring
to
it back up.
repopulate that fund, to keep it at a level 25,000. So that's,
And if we
That's where
don't
we
use
are
it,
so
if we
far.
don't use it that year, then we're
There's no-
asking for $0.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It would require some careful calculus in designing it, communicating it, and passing it, because you wouldn't want it to come out to the employment group, department heads on down to the employees, is a potential, let's go in and talk to the manager. And I mean, in private industry, it's done at a quiet level. It starts at a low management, goes to mid-management, and then goes up to CEO level. And it's usually after somebody's shown remarkable impetus and intelligent aspect, contributed to a project or to a community of department. And those are done quietly and not undercover, but quietly, as opposed to every employee realizing that I can go into the department head and say, I need a raise, because the proselytizing that's going out there with social media available has to be dynamic at this time in life.
I don't want to speak for Tracy, but I think she feels pretty strongly that this is not a run-on-the-bank kind of a fund.
Yeah.
That this is there on an as-needed basis.
for exceptional
For
employees.
exceptional circumstances, and again, there may be years where there is no need to touch this fund whatsoever. But it's, better to have it and not need it, as they say, than need it and not have it. So there's still some work to do. Tracy is back another week, I guess, she's on vacation now, but, so I'll continue the conversation with her. In the interim, we'll talk to other towns. I've spoken now to Rowley, that does not have this kind of a fund available, but the woman I spoke to, Rowley, was interested in what our results were, and I told her I would double back with her.
Have you finished your conversation with town council?
No, I think Tracy is
Tracy.
ongoing with town council, but again, I don't want to speak for her because she's not today. I think she got an initial view of, from town council saying that if it sat within the operating budget, based on how Newbury's budget gets approved, to Diane's earlier point, it may be cumbersome because we may, in Newbury, we may not be able to just have one fund available to be used for any department that might require it. So that's a little fuzzy at the moment.
Okay.
But, so the hope is that, I know we have some time to play with this, but my hope is that by the next meeting, Tracy will have more detail and we'll be able to vote on which way we think is the appropriate. And
Would
then
it-
bring it to,
Whatever
What-
town
what-
council is presenting.
with town council's
Whatever they
input, and then present it to the select board.
Would a phone call to
See.
HRS where they have a broad base
Right.
of experience help?
That was part of it as well, yeah.
Do they have
So
any input?
Tracy, I thought Tracy was.
Tracy was gonna speak to Sandy, I don't know if that's happening.
Okay, because I mean, they would have a book full of
Right,
towns and various sizes.
yeah.
And again, the description would have to be completely neutral. It can't be too specific.
When I did my first pass on local communities, similar size and type, there were 15 or 20 of them, there were half a dozen that had something, not necessarily the fund created, but there was some language in either a warrant article, or there was language at a select board meeting. There was suggestion that other towns were contemplating it. We know that some, like Salisbury, have put it in place, but they're all over the place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So that's what we're dealing with. Made some movement on it, but we're still not quite there yet, especially with Tracy being out of town this week, so more to come.
And this would be for next FY?
Yes.
FY '27.
Seven. Oh my
FY
gosh.
'27, especially if it has to go in front of town meeting in May
Sure.
for the following fiscal year. The good news is there's no code red at the moment.
Yep.
You know, Tracy brought it to us because she was in a situation where it would have been great if there were some funds available to hang on to a valued employee. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But so we're just trying to anticipate future needs and get ahead of it as best we can,
Smart thinking.
you know, so. Any other questions or conversation about that? Just a quick show of hands, I mean, if we're able to create something that sits outside of the regular operating budget, funded by free cash, it does require town meeting approval. Assuming that happens, to me, that would seem, again, less cumbersome. Thoughts?
I agree.
Less cumbersome than what?
Than having to have it sit in the operating budget and then question whether you need five independent ones, or whether, to John's point, we can just have one line item that can be used in different categories.
Yep.
I got the impression from Tracy that town council didn't think in Newbury that was gonna be likely, but again, more
It
details.
sounds
on
very
that.
complicated.
Yeah,
And
it
I
would
think-
certainly
I
be more
think they really
complicated to
wanna
do it
keep
that way.
Relatively on the simple side.
And, I mean, most of my employees, you know, are in a contract anyway, so this wouldn't apply to like my sworn officers, but if I budgeted more money, but highway department didn't budget enough, you know what I mean? Like then, could I give you know what I mean? Could I transfer mine to him so he could keep his, you know, that just seems so
Yeah.
much more, not transparent than if we just had one fund that anyone could go to, whatever the process is decided, to make a request
Right,
to do, you know, to do it. That just seems cleaner to
Right.
me.
yeah. And it may have to come with some operating authority attached to it. It may be
Oh,
that,
for sure.
you know, that maybe the select board has to buy off on each individual
Mm-hmm.
tap into that fund in addition to the town administrator.
Well, and I think that that's a good point, Mark, because you don't want it to get the reputation of being a slush fund.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Exactly.
exactly.
And I think that's why Tracy was asking us if we thought it was appropriate to be under this, because she didn't want to, what I heard her saying was basically she didn't want to be a sole decider
Yep.
on it, but she also needed a process that could move faster
Mhm.
than the FinCom meetings.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that's kind of
Right.
why I
And
felt
then-
like she brought it to us in its infancy stages.
And if it's able to be done outside of the operating budget, what that means is it doesn't require town meeting approval every year,
Yeah.
like the operating budget does. So
Okay.
once it's set in place at a finite amount, whatever that amount might
Yeah.
be, and then it gets replenished out of free cash the following year, if any funds have been dispersed from it. There may be years where there's no funds dispersed from it, so.
Okay.
So we're getting there,
Yep.
but yeah, it's not as easy as,
Mhm.
as always the case, so. Okay, anything else on that?
No?
Great, thank you. All right, last order of business in terms of other business is, I sent out to everyone my final draft, or a draft, I made up the final draft, of the Newbury HR Board, bless you, bless you, FY '25 annual report. Has everyone had a chance to poke through that?
I did. I thought it looked great. Thank you for doing that.
Yep.
You have one typo,
I responded as well.
Thank you. Where is that?
page 2, pay for play.
Page 2 where?
Assure internally equitable and externally comprehensive rates of play for employees. I think you meant pay.
Okay.
Where are we?
I don't have the right glasses underneath yours, especially the way it's all grayed out.
Yeah, I know.
What,
Is it towards the end?
Page 2, right there. Your 4 points made,
Okay.
just before you, where's your signature?
Oh, six is down here. No.
Where's your play?
Yep.
Well, you don't
First
have-
bullet.
Right there. And your
Assure internal equity, internally
Internally
equitable
equitable.
and ethical.
play.
Oh, rates of place. Thank you,
That's quite all right.
thank you. Rates of pay. Thank you for that, John. The substance of it, fine?
Good.
Thoughts,
Well done.
additions?
You might want to change sits to ranks.
Change what?
In the same one down here, change sits to ranks
Help determine where Newbury ranks competitively?
competitively in overall compensation. I mean, it could be some of the board members aren't bright enough to figure out what
Where are you,
sits
John?
means instead of
The
ranks.
last bullet item down towards the bottom, help determine where Newbury, I said sits competitively. John suggested I change sits to ranks.
Well, that's more
Help
precise.
determine where Newbury ranks competitively.
I like that,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
good
Good
job.
good wordsmithing.
The rest of it is perfect, and I added one which sort of emphasized it because you discussed the fact that your additional HR takes in occasional special projects, recruiting and retention of staff, issues related. Maybe you want to actually restate that once again in your bullet points to re-emphasize it, even if it's a bit clandestine. So, I wrote down perhaps assess financial aspects of a vital, essential town imperative, i.e. the retention of exceptional and critical employees.
Do me a favor, after the meeting, could you email me that?
I will.
Because I didn't get it all, sorry.
No, that's quite all right. I'll email it if it's worth putting in there.
Okay.
Just
I'm not sure if
because-
it's my ears or my age or both. But thank you for that, John. I
And that's
appreciate
it.
Mark, nice first draft on that. I appreciate your commitment to the board.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for your response also, Pat.
Yeah.
Well done.
The other thing I wanted, it's funny, I looked at, and by the way, this is a template I've used for a couple, 3 years now, so I'm really just plugging in new numbers, and it has served us well. You know, this comes out as part of the overall town annual report, and each board is responsible for creating its own. Some of them are half a paragraph, some of them are 3 pages, ours is kind of right in the middle. And I just happened to notice yesterday when I was looking through it, that a number of the boards at the bottom don't have any names listed at all. Some of the boards, as I've done, just have the chair writing the letter and that's it. Other boards have each of the board members' names mentioned at the bottom, which I think is a nice touch, and I'd like to do that.
I agree, yep.
So with your permission, I'm gonna sign it and then add each of your names on the bottom as board members, which I should have done in years previous. My apologies for that. Just didn't even think about it. So with your permission, I'll add all your names to it, and that'll sit in the overall annual report book for the town of Newbury.
I think if I'm a resident, that looks nice. It's not something that I need,
Yeah.
you know, as a board member, but I agree with you that if I'm a resident looking at it, it's good to see who the entire board is.
Right, yeah. You know, our names are listed on the website, but people don't often go to the website. So
Yep,
I think we need to share we share the responsibility, we should share the acceptance of, you know, who we are, so.
sounds good.
Okay, so I'll add everybody's name to it, make sure Tracy gets that as the final draft. But John, I'll wait for your,
I will do that first thing.
but anything else on the annual report? Understanding I'm gonna make a couple of quick edits here. Let's vote on acceptance of it as the board. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the Town of Newbury HR Board FY '25 annual report, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you all. Unless there's anything else, or Diane, was there something you wanted to,
I'm still working on all of the stuff, the
the job description?
job descriptions and so forth.
Okay, so a thought. You know, historically, the December meeting is one that we have canceled unless there's something percolating that requires our attention, since it falls so close to the Christmas holiday, and knowing what people's schedules are, traveling and the like. So I guess my thought was, if folks are okay with it, I think we should put something in place for the fourth Monday, with the understanding that we'll keep it only if something of urgency crops up. If my ongoing conversations with Tracy become a code red and we need to discuss this further, hopefully we'd have a quorum. So my thought was, what if we put something in place for the fourth Monday in December with the understanding that it will likely be canceled unless something requires us to be there.
That's good thinking.
Rather have it than not need it. Is that okay?
That sounds good to me.
Smart.
I will not be here.
Okay,
I may
that's,
be-
that's
I
why
may
I wanna
works.
know.
So I'm likely to be in San Francisco
All right,
as
so
well.
that would be the 22nd.
So we have two possibilities of not, I was just gonna say, if we don't have a quorum, people aren't, we
Then it's a
definitely,
moot point
Right.
if we don't have the quorum. But,
so we have one definite, one maybe.
all right, so you're definitely not here that week.
My flights are purchased.
Good for you.
Mine are in the thinking stage.
Okay, so you'll let me
I'm
know.
definitely
will.
here.
I'm
Chief?
definitely here.
I'm here as well.
Oh, yeah.
My bride might not be happy if I'm here on the 21st instead of cleaning the house, but that's another story. Okay,
Happy to provide you with an excuse.
all right, so let's just pencil that in
Okay,
for HR board on the 21st,
22nd,
22nd,
22nd.
22nd.
right?
1600.
Yeah, I don't want to be here on a Sunday, Mark.
No,
There you go.
4 to 5 p.m. December 22nd, 4 p.m., add with the understanding that it's likely to be canceled unless we are required to be here for whatever reason.
Okay,
All right,
Is that good?
Very
sounds good.
it's good.
Okay.
sounds great.
That having been said, if there's not any other new business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second?
any discussion?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy and healthy.